Hi guys, Elliot here. 2023, brand new year, but still the same 50 Zoom. So yeah, let's get into it. Last month was a pretty tough month for me overall results wise. Um, Basically broke even for the whole month. I ran a little bit under EV, but yeah, was just sort of making lots of mistakes, which I think the coming back from holiday hurt my momentum a little bit last month. But we'll see how we can do now. Um, and I think in this pool especially, a lot of it is just really about thinking, where our EV comes from. Um, so I was paying like a lot of people off. Jack six is close here. We've got a nit in the big blind, so we'll open. Yeah, like last year I was paying a lot of people off. Just in the spot where they don't have any bluffs and stuff like that, and that stuff just kills your win rate. So on the left, I like overbet or check. I think with the five here, I think we actually do have some showdown value, so I think we'll check it back. Versus hands like ace, king, ace, queen. And also it's nice to hit some flushes on the river as well, in the check line. I think versus check as well, I think villains just tend to make a few more mistakes. This guy's pretty tight, 21-17, but we'll see how we go. And now when he checks again, I think his range is heavily weighted towards overcards. So I think we can actually value bet this combo here for a small size and not expect to get check raised bluff that often. And on the left, again, I think we can just bet super small exploitatively. Hand benefits from a little bit of value and needs protection as well. Again, just not really expecting people to attack the small bets as much as they should. But yeah, I mean, when I'm talking about pool tendency, guys, one thing to keep in mind is that I'm not doing a lot of these things as well. Like sometimes, like when I review hands with like my coach or whoever, you can just see there's so many mistakes, and you're like, holy shit, I thought I understood that spot, but a lot of times you just don't. So that's why, especially like when those of you who are studying and taking the game quite seriously, autopiloting, I think is like one of the worst things you can do, because it essentially doesn't allow you to like put all of the knowledge you've learned onto the table, which is pretty bad. So like you're not giving yourself the best chance to practice everything you've learned. King 9 will open here and King Jack will open. But yeah, I mean the games across like the back end of December were like brilliant. Really, really good games, especially for like classically inty pool. There are a lot more sort of like spewy like fun plays in the pool, which is good to see and was a nice a nice touch really. Where usually the pools play generally pretty tight. King Jack suited here, I think we'll just fold out of position. His range should be a bit tighter as well when this guy's short. He's going to jam a lot like this. Let's see if we're right. Aces, eights. Okay, cool. Makes sense. Pick up the kings here on the left, on the right even. Another thing, I'm standing. I got a standing desk for Christmas, which is pretty cool. I was having like pretty bad back problems from sitting down so much like during the day. And I've had the standing desk for like a week now, and it's really, really helped. I'd suggest it's 21. Pocket sevens here obviously will open. And versus Kungen, who's a bit of a nit, we will 3-bet. Yeah, absolute game changer, the standing desk. I actually haven't been to the gym for like probably like 3 months now, so I've got a bit out of shape. And looking to get back into shape pretty quickly, obviously, with summer coming up and that. So I might put together like a small fitness sort of series of how to get in shape and things like that. I know it's not the main sort of audience for this channel, but to be honest, it will help keep me accountable if I commit to posting videos on YouTube about it. So ace-3 suited here, we'll 3-bet this time, a little bit deeper. And Jack-3 suited versus Min. I don't think we fold too much suited stuff. Jack-3 is probably cutting it pretty fine, but I think we're cool. Interesting boards. I think, again, a board that we can have leads on. Not going to pretend to know what I'm doing when I do lead, so I'm just going to check. I think like the leading spots will be yeah, something I study a bit more like when I move up stakes. I just don't think at 50 it's too important. So on the ace, if we do bet, we're going to be super polarized. When he checks back, he's going to have a lot of hands like ace king, ace queen, but we've got value here, set straight, stuff like that. And we want to put all of our value into an overbet size here. Betting like a small size with like ace nine, something like that really doesn't make much sense. He folds, which is obviously a nice result. If he folds a hand like king, queen, king, jack, queen 10, all that stuff, it's really nice for our hand. And also, again, like I always say, the recurring theme through every video, certain players, that checking back range is very weak. Now, obviously on that board, if we just get it up again, he is going to have a lot of check backs. It's not like it's a board that he can bet range on. Versus the nit here, we'll open, and ace nine will open. Yeah, it's a board where he's going to have a lot of check backs anyway. But even so, I still think the checking back range on most flops is just pretty unbalanced. So we can get away with these overbet turn probes quite a lot. Don't want to overdo it, but just understanding the mechanics of how the spot works is pretty interesting. Queen 9 will fold, and we'll raise king queen suited versus what I think is a reg actually. I've recently changed a lot of my tags. I know one of you guys left a comment in one of the videos to tag you, to tag you as not a fish. It's so funny, the tagging stuff, because it's like, yeah, like, okay, I'm going to tag this guy as a fish, but like, I know I'm a fish. Like, like we're all pretty much fishes. Like, we're playing 50 zoom. Do you know what I mean? So, you've always got to sort of take it with a pinch of salt. 10-4 deuce, queen 10 here. I think he'll probably make more mistakes against check, so we'll check. And on the left is a 3-bet. Bet's large. Obviously, you could have our speeds, a lot of draws here too, a3 space, stuff like that, and we can't fold. Nice river. When fish bet pot, you always do want to just tread quite carefully. Now, a big bet here, obviously, like our hand wants to get a lot of money in. We want to get the max from a 2, but equally, when he bets turn like that and then just checks river, I think his range is pretty capped. So exploitatively, I'm just going to bet smaller here. I think it's fine. Yeah, he just got nothing. Or spades, maybe. Abi ends up B. I'm seeing him playing a lot of 50 zoom, which is pretty interesting. I remember battling him, or him killing me even in the 200 zoom pool back in the day. 10-8 suited will open, very knitted blinds. So little things like that, so like opening the 10-8 suited there, like they're things that I previously miss. So like when the blinds are super tight, we can just open way wider. Like I haven't run anything as a solver, but it just makes intuitive sense that if they're going to overfold, the EV of our open just goes up. Obviously post flop, you've got to start being a bit more careful if you get in there with more sort of trash hands. But you know, you are going to win more pots. You're going to have a wider range of hands, so you're going to hit more boards, so it's pretty good for like deception and stuff like that. But yeah, you know, if the blinds are tight, just open wider. Ace queen off is a pure open. Ace 4 off fold. Big blind versus button. In the pool, I've noticed that the pools seem to be getting a bit more aggressive. And again, I think that's just the G-Cho wizard effect, like people understanding that the big blind range, big blind 3-bet range is pretty polarized. Now, while it is polarized, and I think people are 3-betting more aggressively, they're still not 3-betting enough. Again, that goes for me as well. Like, are you finding like the raise with 6-4, 7-5, big blind versus under the gun, the 3-bet? Like, probably not, right? So you just have to make sure that you study those pre-flop ranges, and yeah, learn what to do when you do get there. Hit flops with the junkier parts of your range. Ace 8 is close here. I think it's right on the cutoff point. We'll fold it this time, but I'm not sure. Yeah, like pre-flop ranges is the one bit that I've sort of neglected. Like all of the study's been post-flop, and I definitely need to get back up to scratch on the pre-flop game. Loads of EV to be made there. 3-bet the queens. And in this pool, if he does jam or 4-bet or whatever, we'll reluctantly get it in. So Stockfish is a fish here. Versus a rake here on the right. Roll a 21, so a 3-bet this time. I think on this board we're just going to bet big. Try and get money in while our hand's good. Or hopefully good at least. He's got a lot of continues here. 10x, hearts, 5-6, all that shit. King jack off. We will open. Now this be a pure open, even though we've got regs in the blinds. Hitting the small blind. Ace King 7 for me is going to be overbet or check. I think this hand can obviously do some checking, but with the King of Hearts, I like overbetting a bit more, and a lot of his ace-x actually already becomes indifferent as well, which is pretty interesting when we overbet there. I think those overbet spots are spots where people aren't currently playing them properly, but in like 6 months' time or like across this year, people are gonna work them out a bit more. Same way with like the range bet, like that 1/3 range bet. I think now is probably, I think generally pools have studied it enough to know how to respond. I was chatting to one of my mates about it the other day, and he reckons that people understand how to raise against it, but still actually overfold, which is quite interesting. Ace jack off is pretty close, unknown, open to 3x. We've rolled an 18, but I think I'm just going to let this one go. I think it's close anyway. Maybe we just fold it all the time. King 10 suited will open here. Ace 10. So like in this spot, which is pretty interesting. So I know that this guy's a reg, and this range is going to be nearer to what it should be. Versus the fish, I'd never consider 4-betting ace 10, but versus the reg I will. Like just 4-betting into a range of like ace, king, queens, jacks, 10s. You're just burning money on fire. And I say that quite prescriptively, but talking from personal experience there. Open the aces so we get some action. Okay, 6-4 deuce. I think we'll start with a check and go for the check raise here. Okay. Now on this turn, it's quite a nice turn because he's picked up like some king x, king queen, king jack. So let's go for the overbet. And we can rep a lot of bluffs in that line as well. We're going to have spades, diamonds, all that stuff. But again, when he checks back, range very capped. 7-8 off close. Guy looks like a pretty loose passive-ish player, 43-25. Close, we'll call it this time. And Queen 9 suited fold. That's a big 3-bet size there. Yeah, had a lot of good feedback on the videos, guys. So I really appreciate that. I think we're almost up to 300 subscribers now, which is pretty sick. Pretty cool, actually. Didn't expect that to happen as quickly as it did, which is always nice. So again, on the right, we're going to play overbet or check. If we are going to overbet, I just think we want hands with just like higher raw equity. Hands like a7, a6, ace5, all those hands that we have aren't really going to want to overbet, and I think they do make pretty good checkbacks. But 8-7 here is just going to be a check fold. If he checks, I think we probably have to bluff river, although the blockers aren't super great. But when he bets b66, it looks like b67, we can let someone go now. But yeah, looking forward to this year, see what it brings. Hopefully stop playing back in 50 Zoom. Nightmare of a pool, but we'll get there. I was saying, yeah, like the results last month were just like, I was going along so nicely and then just like started to lose chunks. I was like, what the hell's going on? 7-4 call versus 2.2. This guy's in it as well, actually. I was even playing a few reg tables actually, and I was playing with a couple of the guys who watch my videos. Yeah, the reg tables do seem softer. I think the fish are like softer basically on the reg tables, if that makes sense. Whereas in the Zoom pools, a lot of the fish still play very tight. Like the guy could have 40 bigs, and if he jams it in half the time, you still see aces and kings, and it's just like, what the hell's going on? So the game's changed quite a lot, like from that perspective. But on the reg tables, like you see a lot more kings all in against queens, queens all in against jacks. Whereas in these pools, like you literally, it feels like you just see ace, king, kings, and aces are the only hands that go in pre, which obviously isn't how it should be. But that's the reality of Zoom at the moment. Queen 9 off here will open. I think it's pure anyway. Ace 9 suited here. So this guy's playing 19-16. So this is an example of a hand that I'd mix, but versus this guy, I think I'm just going to fold pure. 10-9-4. And play a variety of sizes, but we're just going to simplify to a small bet versus a fish. Playing 28-5. When he raises here, it's actually already pretty ugly. I guess we have to call, like, just trying to hit 2 pair essentially, but yeah, it's no fun. Ace 5 off here, I think we pretty much 3 bet almost pure. And this guy's a reg as well. I guess we call again on the right, but whatever. Maybe bets again, we're just going to fold. Just expect to see like the mergy. Okay. So I expect to see hands like King 10, 10-7, 10-8, all that stuff. No need to bet, but hopefully we do win here some of the time. Ace 10, okay. About right. Little things like that, like the fish is just min raising. Like, to be honest, if I wasn't making a video, I probably would have just folded there. It's just like crazy how tight like people's ranges are. And even when like the fish min clicked, he still has it. Like he's not just spewing, you know. Like you do get the odd spew. I mean, any of you guys who played against me will know that I can mix it up quite nicely. But yeah, it's just crazy how even the fish are so tight now. 9-8 will open. Good board for range. Although nuts are split pretty evenly here, although he's not going to have kings and tens. I think we can just start the range bet. Just deny a little bit of equity. I don't think it's a board that he should have too many raises on. But if he does, I think it's just an easy fold. Ace deuce here is close. Seems like we've got some slightly better players here on the right, so I think we'll just fold it this time and just open ace 3 suited pure. Whereas ace deuce is a bit more junky. I think we'll go for like another. Gone for 20 minutes. We'll go for like another 5-10 minutes here. Queen jack off versus a reg on a 97 is just a call. And jack 8 here is, I think, pretty close between all three. On the 6-8 we'll fold. I think I'll just call it half the time. Yeah, I think that's fine. Pretty aggressive reg. So king 7-4. So these blind on blind spots, you'll be surprised at how wide you have to float versus range bets. Question is whether Queen Jack gets in there. I mean, we're going to have all the pairs that we can easily call here with the draws, stuff like that. Which isn't actually that relevant because each hand has its own EV anyway. So saying like, yeah, we have better hands to call isn't the best way to think about these spots. I think I'll fold, but that could be a call, could just be super close. Because like the EV of hands like that, when you call, turn goes check check, and they check river, you can bluff as well. Which is where the EV of the hand comes from. The EV doesn't always come from the value that you're getting from hands. It's from position, can you bluff, like all of this stuff. Jack 8, looks like we've got a weak player here in the big blind. So here you could even like exploitatively just size down. Shit hand size down. Hope that folds through. Get punished anyway. Ace 10 off's close, but we've got some weak players on the table here. We get absolutely punished on the right, but we're going to fold and see what the crack is. I expect a lot of folds from small blind here. Yep. And ace 10, yeah, fold. But yeah, those of you who've commented about different spots and stuff, really appreciate it. I was even looking at a spot, I think it was a 3-bet spot, button cutoff, the one you posted about, or one of the guys posted about. I checked that out last night. And actually, yeah, did make a mistake there, which is part of the reason why I like making these videos, for you guys to tell me where I fucked up, basically. Ace 10 is an open. I think there have been enough spots this video to make it worthwhile putting up. Guys in nit here. I don't think we ever mix ace 10 into 4-bet anyway. I think it's just ace queen off. Eights we open. Yeah, I think we've had enough spots. Haven't had to re-record one yet, which is nice, and I hope to keep it that way. Versus a reg, we will 3-bet this one again, making sure not to miss these spots. So big blind versus EP is pretty underbluffed. This guy does look like a pretty solid player. So I'll just randomize for this one. We've rolled a 35. I think that's just about good enough to call. Basically just try and hit a set here. Okay, interesting. 10-10 deuce, I think we can actually just bet half. So hand benefits from folding out a better ace X, pocket fours, pocket sixes, hands like that. I don't think we play any raises on the right ever. I think we basically just call down. He checked, which is pretty interesting. So in terms of size here, this is where I struggle a bit. So often we can stab small, but I'm not sure which hands we have here that want to stab small. I guess if we do stab small, we can still get value from like kings and jacks, stuff like that. I don't expect him to check back ace queen, ace king that much. And I don't like checking it back, so I think we can just bet small here. You could still have like aces and queens, obviously, which makes some sense to play this way, aces more than queens. Now I think we just jam, unblocking the aces. Pretty big jam, but I think it's the only size that we want to use here. I think we're pretty polarized to boats and ace-x when we bet. So yeah, I think this is fine. When he checks back turn, I'm just not sure how much ace-x he has, but he should have some. Bluffs here, don't ask. I guess, I mean, even king jack's a pretty bad bluff, like blocking kings jacks. Maybe some like 10-9, 10-9 club, something like that. We're going to raise a king 5 on the left. Or are we? Yep. I think you don't do this one pure with the king 5. I think it's like the stronger the king X actually, the more you want to do it. I think that's how the spot works. I guess we can B75 or check. With king 5, and this guy is very nitty, I think I prefer a check back. Because we're never going to get 3 streets from this guy with this hand, I don't think, and win. I don't think it's ever going to happen. Nice having hearts as well. So he bets small. I don't think it makes sense to raise. I think if we raise, we just start to isolate ourselves against better. There could be a bit of a mindset leak by me there, but I think it's fine. We're just going to call. King 5 will open. And we'll check here again. And we're just going to call. Unless he does anything crazy. Jack and deuce, I think we can get away with just range betting. Argument for some larger sizes as well. Yeah, versus B75, we're just going to call. Don't expect to win too much against this guy, but it is what it is. Pocket queens. Bit annoying, but is what it is. Just, I really dislike paying off nits. Done it too much. But we're never getting away from that one. Although maybe we can, because I just don't know what his bluffs are when he bets, and like, well, he's not bluffing, right? So it's just about how much value do we beat, and like we don't beat any value, really. So we could have even just folded that. That might even be a nice example I was talking about of where you just sort of like auto folding, auto playing, auto piloting the spot, and not thinking about it too much. And I think that's basically what I've done there. A7 off will just call. Again, that the raises are less good against like the tighter players. Ace king, start with check. He bets super small. Easy call. And on the left, nothing other to do than call with the king of diamonds. On the left, we can bet or check. I think I'm going to check. Not the best river. I don't think we can call on the left here, so I'm going to fold this one. And on the right, I'm just going to check it back. Nitty check back. Pocket queens again. So yeah, just like 3-betting, even blind on blind against his range, just seems like a disaster. I sort of used to think that if they're playing tight, they're going to fold pre-flop more, which is wrong because they just have a much stronger range, right? Which you're going to get less folds with. And like a lot of our 3-bet hands, we're actually looking for folds because they're 3-bet bluffs. All right, guys, set up next big blind on both tables. Yeah, that king 5 hand, let me know what you guys would have done there. Honestly, I think that I could have got away from it. Like thinking about it, it's actually tilted me a bit for some reason. But that's fine. Could just be a pure call in theory anyway. King queen will open. Sixes here is pretty close. I don't think we fold any pairs. Queen jack deuce can play big bets or small bets. We're just going to simplify to small bet. So he's played large sides, which I like. I'm actually going to change him to a reg. And sixes is probably a call in theory. I'm just going to let this one go. It's really close. It might be dependent on the suits, like which ones we call and which ones we don't there. But not going to make our money from calling big bets on 9-5 deuce, whatever it was, with pocket sixes. King jack open. See what this guy wants to do. Okay. Jack 8-5. Again, I think we can have multiple sizings, but I'm just going to simplify to a small bet. Haven't done sort of enough study to start using larger bets properly yet, but it's something I am going to do. I mean, I probably could start using them now, but it's just a case of simplicity. 5-3. So again, I'm probably going to fold this, but when I look around the table, all right, we've got a fish here, fish in a big blind. So it just makes it more of an open in my head kind of thing. That's going to fold sevens. Yeah, so guys, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what your poker New Year resolutions are in the comments. Let me know any comments on the hands. Let me know if you'd like to see anything else. And also let me know if anything around fitness would be interesting. I'm going to release a video on that over the next couple of weeks. So yeah, as always, it'd be good to hear your feedback. And yeah, good luck on the tables, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.